Recently, I posted on Twitter the following. Nature is clear. Women ought to have long hair and men short. Long hair on a woman is her glory. Long hair on a man is a disgrace. And of course, I was paraphrasing the Apostle Paul, who in 1 Corinthians 11 said this, "Doth not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him?" At the heart of the issue is really this. Men and women are different, and it should show up in the way that we dress and wear our hair. People do not like this. We've been trained to see such sexual distinctiveness as inherently bigoted, hateful, and intolerable. Again, what's under attack is not simply the length of hair, but sexual distinction itself. And by the way, that is precisely what Paul is trying to convey. The length of hair is important because it is a clear statement about sexual distinction, and it ought to be different among men and women. Hair length is not insignificant. As Bible commentator Matthew Henry notes on the passage, quote, "Should there not be a distinction kept up between the sexes in wearing their hair, since nature has made one? Is it not a distinction which nature has kept up among all civilized nations? The woman's hair is a natural covering. To wear it long is a glory to her, but for a man to have long hair or to cherish it is a token of softness and effeminacy." End quote. Now, I think Matthew Henry is actually on the money here. Men and women are sexually distinct, and their hair lengths should reflect this distinction. If we can agree on nothing else, we ought to be able to agree on this principle. It applies to a number of issues, including societal and familial roles, dress, demeanor, and yes, hairstyles. But the central issue in all of it is that men and women are different. I know. Men and women are different, and the external manifestations of their sex should play out in their behavior, in their apparel, and in their societal roles. Henry Van Til said that culture is religion externalized. We could easily amend this to say that clothing and hairstyles, which are a part of culture, are also religion externalized. Clothing and hairstyles reflect what we worship. We can also say that clothing and hair are language. That is to say, before we even utter a word, our dress and bodily appearance are making a statement. They are communicating something significant about us to other people. Hair, it turns out, really is doing a lot of speaking. Also interesting, I want to highlight now an article from Time. This is what they say about hair length. It says, quote, "Though hair fashions may have changed season to season, the association between women and long hair is an ancient one. It dates back to at least ancient Greek and Roman eras. Anthony Sinnott, a sociologist who has written that hair is a personal symbol with immense social significance, found these implications in, for example, St. Paul's letter to the Corinthians. Kurt Sten, author of Hair, A Human History, says, "It is almost universally culturally found that women have longer hair than men. Since, as Paul says, long hair on women is glorious, and nature itself teaches us this lesson." He also calls women to modestly adorn themselves. Godly men should be revolted by the thought of taking on hair or clothing styles that are inherently feminine. And godly women should be revolted by acting or dressing in a manly way. Now, because our culture has been making war on sexual distinction for at least 100 years, we tend to notice things like butch or mannish haircuts a lot less. What so many are trying to deny is what nature makes inescapable, namely that sexual distinction exists at all, and that these distinctions show up in objective standards. That Paul is highlighting male and female distinctiveness, which shows up in the way that hair is worn. Again, the key point is that there are some objective sexual distinctions associated with hair and length, and we are simply trying to be obedient to our sex as it relates to hair. Generally, men should have shorter hair and women longer, and mannish hair on women should be avoided, as is gay or effeminate hair on men.